Vegas Starfish. What's the most exclusive experience in Vegas that you can't believe is still a secret?
Delilah at Wynn. That's the one that no one's talking about because it doesn't matter if we talk about it. You can't get in anyway. They have $27 chicken tenders there, and I would love to drag them, but they're the best chicken tenders I've ever had. And like Fontainebleau is, without a question, the best resort in Vegas right now, and that's very controversial. Have you been?
That's the one property that I want to go to, and I haven't been yet. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Stunning. Yeah.
It's stunning.
The thing about Vegas is we're all from somewhere else. Everyone brings something great from somewhere else and incorporates it into the fabric that is Vegas, and that's what makes Vegas the greatest destination in the world for tourism.
What's the most outrageous Vegas myth you've debunked?
Welcome to Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talks.
This is Fargo Talks.
Thank you for coming in.
Sure.
People will know your voice.
Yes.
They don't know who you are as a person.
No.
But Vegas Starfish, thank you for coming on Fargo Talks.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. It's funny because people will ask me a lot, how do you get your guests? I say, I just ask.
Yes. So you asked 3 times and I felt bad saying no the 3rd time. So I was like, okay. And so here we are. But it's the first one I've done since I did Phil's. But like Phil's different because it's all just us creators kind of hanging out in a place where we already kind of hang out. So it doesn't feel like a podcast. It feels like, friends with cameras. So
It's funny because I do the same thing here. I just create a safe, non-judgmental space
right.
to bring people in to go, hey, I have an audience of X, would love it if you want to come in and we just talk and I have questions sometimes or we just shoot the shit and see where it goes organically. And
Sure.
that's it.
Right.
And then we take the clips and send them out and post the long form stuff on YouTube and that's it.
But that's the part where it becomes judgmental because the internet is horrible about telling you everything that they wouldn't say to you in person. And it kind of fosters this environment where it's not only acceptable, but celebrated to tear people down. And because of that, and because I have 2 small children, I keep myself relatively private. And like I said, I opened myself up to doing like kind of a podcast circuit. I'm going to do 60 days. Anyone who asks, I'll say yes. And you're the first. I have several scheduled next week. And then after that, I'm not going to do anymore. So I'll be done. But someone called to my attention a thread on Reddit where I was just being eviscerated. And for a moment, I was really upset because there's like 30 or 40 people and they're talking about how much they hate me and they hate my voice and they hate my reviews and how everything's bought and paid for, which is not true. Not even close. And I confided in another Vegas creator, Perez Hilton, Las Vegas Perez. And he said, think of every negative comment as currency, as payment, because it boosts you up and it puts you out there. And then I spoke to another large creator not too long ago, Keith Lee, about comments that hurt me. And he said, just block them. So you don't owe anyone anything. Block anyone who looks at you sideways. And I was like, is that what you do? He's like, yeah, sometimes I just go through and block everyone who's being rude. It's like, block everybody. They're not owed your content. They're not paying you. They're not owed access to you. So I try to strike a balance between the 2 things of like allowing it. And when it gets to be too much, I just block them.
Only you can let somebody offend you.
Right.
When they do, you block them. It's that simple. And you're on a much larger scale than me, but there's stuff that'll hurt my feelings. People will say stuff, my age, I'm bald, I'm overweight. I don't care.
Right.
I have 2 kids who I love, who love me.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend that I'm head over heels gaga for.
That's awesome.
Thank you. And so my cup runneth over with love. And so if somebody else, I always thought that anger or being mean is you're masking sadness. So those people are just sad.
Yeah.
And if it's Fern Flanagan, 1984, wearing her wife beater in her parents' basement, eviscerating hatred, with her home row keys. Okay, you know what? I hope you have a better day tomorrow.
Right.
And it's a biggie because people think when you become somebody that has a sizable audience online, where your stuff is popping off, stuff from months ago is still getting, stuff on it and comments. It hurts when you see those comments sometimes that are just not nice, but they don't know you.
Right.
They don't know me,
Right.
Jen.
And it's not personal.
It's not personal.
Yeah. But it feels that
Right?
way. And I'm a people pleaser. And I'm someone who, you know how we're all the main characters in our story. In my story, I'm a nice person. So when someone comes after me, I want to tell them why I'm not the way they, and then I realize that I'm just engaging. And the truth is, so I have around 4 million followers, and that means only about 2% of those people are really into me or really hate me. The majority just want to know where to go in Vegas. That's where everyone else falls. When you consume content, you're not personally invested in the life of the content creator. It's not personal. You're just there for whatever information they're imparting. So I try not to let the crazy fringe on either side, the ones that hype me up a lot or the ones that are really terrible. I try not to let it get to me, and I'm working on it. And that's why I'm doing podcasts, because I'm going to meet new people.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you. Welcome. Good for you for stepping out of your comfort zone.
Thank you.
Good for you for saying, okay, this is a little bit icky.
Yeah.
This is really not my jam. I'd rather be on the other side of the camera.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And doing my thing.
Yeah.
And so, but it's the only way we can evolve as human beings.
Right. And you might learn something new. This is a form of media that I have never really tapped into. And I think it's fascinating. And obviously there's something to it because so many of you are so into it. And the people who are into podcasts are really into podcasts. So here I am.
It is something that has taken over, I think, because news, the way we get our news now, I think, is more podcasts.
Sure.
There's a couple of podcasts I listen to, All In Podcast. These 4 guys who are just super smart, all have fuck you money. Pardon my language.
No,
I swear.
you're fine.
Okay. It's a New York thing.
Yeah.
And so they can't be canceled, but they're brilliant in all different areas.
Sure.
All In Podcast. And I listen to them religiously. Every Thursday, a new episode drops. Politics, technology, nutrition, the economy, global stuff, everything.
Right.
There's no one that they have to pander to where the CNNs, the Fox Newses, they all have an agenda.
For sure.
Left, right, they all have an agenda, which I grew up with Walter Cronkite. I'm 54. And so I grew up with that. That's the way it is. And they didn't give any type of agenda. It was just, here's the news.
For sure.
Take it for what it's worth. Now, I really don't watch the news anymore. I get most of my stuff on podcasts, and that's what I really try to do that here. Now, do I interject my own opinion with stuff? I'm Gen X. Fuck yeah, I do. Oh my God,
sure.
yes. Right?
Yeah.
But I do it in a way that's respectful to my guest. I don't disrespect anyone because I don't want to feel that way.
Right.
It's just a golden rule, doing to others.
Sure.
So I applaud you for doing that. But I agree with Keith that just block anyone that is, and I tell this to all my friends, anyone that makes you not feel well, you wouldn't hang out with them.
Right. Just get rid of them.
You wouldn't meet them out for drinks if they're a dick.
For sure.
Or they're mean to you or you're one of your friends. So you just go, okay, block.
Right.
And there's something satisfying about hitting the block button.
It is. But then I feel guilty because I was raised Catholic. So that Catholic guilt, it's buried in there. I want to fix everyone. I bring home puppies, and in high school it was boyfriends, and I look for the broken toys, and then I want to make their life better. And I have gotten better through years of therapy. My background is journalism, and speaking about partisanship, I worked for a newspaper that was run by 2 New Yorkers, and one was a hardcore Republican and one was a hardcore Democrat. And they would send me out to do municipal reporting in a small town in North Carolina. It was called the GAM. It's long since defunct, but they would both vet my stories, looking for any slight to the other side. And the goal was to create entirely non-biased pieces. And I am not super political myself. I have things that I care about, but I try to approach content from the same perspective without bias. And I hear people say, oh, well, she likes this company because it's Republican owned, or she likes this company because she's a woke liberal, and that never factors into what I'm covering. One of the comments that I got recently was that I hate the cake vending machines because they're owned by Buddy V. And apparently Buddy V is a Republican, which I did not know that, but my followers told me that. I hate the cake vending machines because the cake is shit. It's garbage. It's so bad. And it's like 1,600 calories for a slice of it. And it's like $12. It's all the things that are wrong. But it's brightly colored and it's positioned in a place to where tourists are going to happen upon it and be like, you know what? It's 2 a.m. I'm a little bit drunk. A piece of cake sounds amazing. It's not amazing. We have amazing bakeries here. That's not one of them. But then the whole cake controversy was sort of fueled by the fact that the videos go insanely viral. So much so that internally, the Buddy V company circulated a memo saying that they were never to work with me and that they needed to find influencers to counter what I was saying. So they sent these invitations to my colleagues, the other creators in Vegas, saying, as you may have seen, there is a creator with an agenda against us. So we are offering anyone who will go make a video that is pro cake machine $25 in cake credits, essentially.
For shitty cake.
Right. And like no one that I know of took them up on it. But the offer was just so ludicrous. And someone who used to work in PR for them reached out to me with a different client and said, hey, can we work together? And I was like, absolutely. And I said, you know what's wild is that Buddy V missed an incredible marketing opportunity. Because if Buddy V reached out to me, who, by the way, I've heard his Italian restaurant is exceptional. I've heard it's very good. I haven't been, but I've heard it's really good. I would love to go, but I feel like people would think it was disingenuous. But if Buddy V reached out and was like, hey, why don't you like the cake? And I said, because it sucks. We could talk about it. We could figure out a way to improve it. We could figure out a way to take that virality and harness it. But no one's looking at it from a marketing standpoint, which is what I do. They're looking at it from a like, oh, she's against us. I'm against you because your cake sucks. Make it better. And then I'm happy to sing. They don't have to pay me. Like, I'm happy to sing the praises if they make improvements. Not that they owe me that. I'm just saying it's a missed opportunity. Virality, good or bad, is always an opportunity, you know?
You've built your audience, your business on giving your opinion.
Yes.
That's all you're doing.
Right.
And we're so afraid these days of offending somebody.
For sure.
We all walk on eggshells. Not all of us, but a lot of people walk on eggshells now.
Right.
And if you were to give somebody constructive criticism about their product or service, the best thing they could do is come back. I cherish it.
Right.
I preach that with my kids.
Right.
To say, hey, if I'm not doing well as a dad, tell me.
Right.
We might agree to disagree.
Right.
My daughter's 15, my son is 8.
Oh, goodness.
And a difference with having a young girl and a boy and the whole all that goes with it. But I always tell them, if I'm not being the dad that you expect me to be, tell me.
Right.
And tell me why. And I'll do everything I can to work on that.
For sure.
It's
yeah.
okay. That's all you're doing and I agree, it's shitty cake. And I saw your content. I'm like, absolutely.
It's so bad.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But again, instead of doubling down on ego and brand and all that, that's old school 1980s aluminum siding sales,
right.
PR. Nowadays it's no, if there's somebody out there with millions of followers and she's saying that our product isn't good, why don't we have somebody reach out to her?
Or even just sit down and agree to disagree.
Yeah. And sit down, and that's okay.
Right.
Nowadays it's like I'm a registered independent and I'm open about it. I've said, I'm not a Kamala person. I'm a Trump guy just because I'm pro-economy and it's just me. That's just me. One of my really good friends, Wani, she's one of the owners of Mothership Coffee here in town. She spoke at the DNC.
I was so proud of her.
I texted her and I said, I am so freaking proud of you.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps.
I'm going to go do a video on her. I don't know her.
Oh, good.
I don't know her.
Oh, she's
but
great.
I'm going to go do a video because I'm so proud of her as a woman to take the risk that and the negativity that she will inevitably get from people and stand on that stage and speak her truth. Like I said, I'm not super political, but there are certain things that I believe in. I believe in women and I believe in taking care of our children. I have a 6 and a 10-year-old boys and they're my whole world. I believe in things and I don't have the courage to take a hardcore political stance. One, because it's hard. And two, because I don't want necessarily for people to make judgments about me based on where I fall on that spectrum. But for her to get on that stage is so cool. And no matter what stage it had been, she's representing Vegas and her business on a world stage. That's amazing.
What an absolute win for her.
Yeah.
And I showered her with praise.
Yeah.
Because
awesome.
I love her.
Yeah.
And I've known her for years. And, I used to go to the one over on St. Rose when I had a real job, when I was a W-2 guy. I was there almost every day. That was like my de facto office, was Mothership Coffee. To see someone who's an entrepreneur, woman, killing it.
Yeah.
To have the balls to get up on stage at the Democratic National Convention.
Right.
Bravo.
Yeah.
And I'm not I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris, but I love Wani.
Yeah.
I love her. And
That's
I'm so
awesome.
proud of her for doing that. We can disagree on our politics. That's okay. Because guess what? I still love her as a person.
Yeah.
And I think we just need more of that in the world, Jen.
Yeah.
That we can disagree on stuff.
Sure.
It's okay, because I still think you're super funny, love your content, love to go out for drinks sometime, bring my
Sure.
girlfriend, let's go out and have a good time with no
Right.
social media whatsoever.
Of course.
And like we went to Red Rock on Friday to the Rocks Lounge for the first time ever.
Oh, the Rocks is cool. Yeah.
Oh my, it was hysterical. A good friend of mine invited us. I don't go out that much. I'm 54. My girlfriend's 43, which is good because it's not creepy age difference because there's a 4 there.
No, that's
so
good.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
And she's an old soul. Like she has like 3 or 4 cardigans. She's just.
I like a good cardigan.
I tell her, I feel like I'm dating a 73-year-old.
That's awesome.
And she's from northern Georgia with a southern accent. And we go there, and she was arguably the youngest person there. It was all just older folks, a lot of retirees, a lot of, again, just making a judgment here, it's just me, mail order brides. It was white men with younger Asian women, about 15 years younger. And I'm like, this must be the place that they all come to hang out.
Yeah.
And it's just an observation that I made.
Yeah.
That's it. But I was like, holy shitballs.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And
yeah.
I like to watch crowds. I like to watch people. Because I'm like doing the data. I'm like, okay,
Right.
well, what's their average household income and what are they doing and why are they
For
here and all
sure.
that. That's just where my brain goes. But to see these, and they're having a blast.
Right.
And the band was up there playing straight up 80s, like Corey Hart, Sunglasses at Night, Flock of Seagulls with the videos up on screens, and they're in sync with the videos. It was great.
I love everything Red Rock.
Oh my God.
And as far as casino ownership goes, and this is another one that ironically, my understanding, and again, I haven't done my research on this, but the Fertittas are pretty hardcore Republican, is my understanding. I believe that they've donated a lot of money, mega donors perhaps. But the reason that I respect them and will continue to, I've never been paid a dime by a station's property. I get a lot of accusations that I'm bought and paid for by everyone. And it is true. I make money off of every piece of content I make, but it's not in the way that people think. People don't have a true understanding of how social media creators are monetized. And we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah.
But as far as the station's properties, never been paid a dime by them. We'll never accept it because the minute I take money from them, I lose my autonomy over what I can say and how I can say it. With that being said, I love every product that they put out. They're exceptional. And the Fertittas are always on property. They're always involved. They are present casino owners. When Durango was opening, I would be like shooting content in a room and I'd say, oh, I want to run over here and shoot. And they say, oh, the Fertittas are in there doing like a tasting or whatever. Like, let's go here and come back. Like, I respect their involvement in their product and knowing that it's exceptional and who their target audience is. And they're doing such a great job of executing it. GVR, Durango, Red Rock, those are some of the best products in the city. So I love them very much. And it has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. Wynn, another pretty conservative company, amazing. Fountain Blue, which I believe is a more left-leaning company. I'm not sure. Casinos don't have politics, but the ownership. Fountain Blue is, without a question, the best resort in Vegas right now, and that's very controversial. But it's an exceptional product, and they're fighting some uphill battles, as everyone does with a brand new company. but the food is wonderful. The rooms are wonderful. The everything that they offer is spectacular. Have you been?
That's the one property that I want to go to, and I haven't been yet. And I want to take Brandy there. I'm someone that I wait.
Right.
I wait because they've got the kinks to work out and everything else. I've seen your content. I've seen other people have just posted.
Right.
And have said, it's amazing. It's fantastic.
Stunning. Yeah.
It's stunning
Yeah.
what they've done. But also, conversely, it's from, some people from Miami that have come in. And whenever people from out of town come in and try to do their thing, there's usually some bumps in the road.
Right.
Because they're used to doing it. They have their own business model, which has worked for them in another location.
For sure.
And then they come to Vegas, which is a completely different set of rules that go on here.
But the thing about Vegas is we're all from somewhere else. Like the 7 people that are born and raised here wear it like it's a personality trait. But everyone brings something great from somewhere else and incorporates it into the fabric that is Vegas. And that's what makes Vegas the greatest destination in the world for tourism. Because you can come here and experience, New York, and you can come here and experience Paris, and you can come here and experience Miami. And they brought their concept here because it worked elsewhere. They have adapted it to Vegas quite nicely. Sorry, my allergies are killing me today. So along with the allegations that I'm paid, I've never been paid by Fontainebleau, not a dime. I actually don't have a great relationship with Fontainebleau. We have an okay relationship, but they're very traditional PR. They've never worked with people like me. I don't think they're truly interested in working with people like me. For their grand opening, they only invited 2 creators from our market. A lot of people claim they were given invitations. Only 2 were given invitations. Myself and Vital Vegas, which is Scott Robin, who's wonderful. I love Scott.
Love his stuff. Love his stuff.
If Scott happens to see this, he knows how much I love him. I see him all around town, and I'm the first one to champion him as he paved the way for a lot of us to be able to talk smack. So, both Scott and I tried very hard to work with Fontainebleau, and Fontainebleau kept us out. They kept us shut out along with all the other media. They wanted to control the media cycle. And finally, a few days before they were opening, Sunday before they were to open on Wednesday, after sending countless emails, I had kind of a come to Jesus meeting with one of their PR people. And I said, look, you're not going to have anyone excited about you if we don't start the conversation. And they said, why don't you and Scott come over? We'll give you a tour of the property. And so it was the first progress that anyone had made. Some people had snuck in and done illegal tours, but this was like a sanctioned, you're welcome to come here. Yes.
You were anointed.
Right. So we went, and at the meeting, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Colleen Birch, who was the then COO of the property. And she's wonderful. We get our hair done at the same place. I love her. And she said, is there anything that I can do for you to build a relationship? And I was like, yeah, your grand opening, not inviting creators from the market is a snub. And even though we aren't owed an invitation, we are the loudest sources of information. And if you want us to be excited about your property, you can't tell us that we're not worth entertaining at your grand opening. Like, we're neighbors now. Invite us in. And I went home, and that evening I got an invitation, and Scott did too. We were the only 2 that were invited. Scott turned it down. He was too little too late at that point, I think. Also, I don't think he wanted to put on a tux. So, which is probably a big part of it. I went, and it was spectacular. It was amazing. And they should have invited everyone. It should have been, they did it poorly. It has been an uphill battle getting coverage. I've been to the Super Bowl night. Jay-Z and Beyonce had a big party up in the Poodle Room. I got in. I didn't get in through Fontainebleau. I got in through different connections. Once I was up there, I was told I couldn't film anything. I couldn't take pictures of anything. And I said, you're missing out on the biggest PR opportunities. No one knows how cool this place is. And they're like, we have a plan. They still haven't showed the Poodle Room. No one's seen it. It's the most beautiful room in Las Vegas. It's absolutely stunning. Everything is so controlled. And so they want everything to look like it's perfectly polished and And that's just not how it works in Vegas.
If you look at whatever relationship, let's say they have with the LVCVA, Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority, which I'm sure there's money exchanging hands there. I'm 100%, I'm going to put my kids' eyes on that one. And the reach.
What do you mean? How so?
I think that in some way, shape, or form, they're either paying LVCVA or that there's some type of, not maybe monetary, but something's going on, exchange of goods or services somehow for LVCVA to go ahead and be like talking about Fontainebleau, because they have reps that are going all over the country that get people to want to have their convention here. Like we're battling like Orlando, let's say.
Okay, so I can shed some light on that, having done, do you know there was some drama with our LVCVA? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know that the drama was that they were taking tax dollars to pay influencers for content. I was one of those influencers. I was paid $10,000 by them for 5 videos, which is actually below my commercial branding rate, but it was a good opportunity to work with a group that I wanted to work with. Mine was disclosed, as all of my paid brand deals are. I was one of the few people that disclosed my partnership with the LVCVA. But if you go look at my content, it also says paid partnership on it. And that should stand as a testament that, because I didn't know we were going to get exposed for that. Like I didn't know it was going to come out 2 years later. I disclosed it because it was the correct thing to do. So that, to my people who think that I'm not disclosing my brand deals, that should be proof that I do when I am required to. If I receive anything under the FTC guidelines, if I receive anything of monetary value, if it's an opinion where I'm compensated for it, there's quite a bit of gray area that can get murky where, like, I go into a restaurant 10 or 15 times. They know me. I know them. They send out a bottle of wine. I say something nice. Am I saying it for the bottle? Like, there's a lot of area that the FTC is going to have to get very clear on. And that's why it's not currently really being enforced, because it's very hard to determine product placement and whether or not this is a paid endorsement. But when I'm asked to give a review or when I take compensation for a review, I disclose it, period. There have been times I've been comped on the back end and I didn't know that I was going to get a dessert for free or something, and I didn't mention it in a video. But I'm comfortable that if the FTC comes after me, I'm in compliance. So anyway, I tangentate. The LVCVA takes like $2 or $3 per guest that stays in the hotel, part of the tourism tax. They're funded. It comes from every single hotel on the tourism corridor, including Circus, Luxor, Fontainebleau. They, as a governing body and an ambassador for tourism, make decisions on what they're going to promote based partly on like what needs it and availability, but also based on what they feel like is going to increase the visibility for Vegas and make Vegas a more desirable tourism destination. There is, and I'm of this belief too, a lot of belief that the north end of the Strip needs more support than like Center Strip. We've got to get the tourism to Resorts World and to Fontainebleau and to Strat, which has undergone a major renovation, to Sahara, that's a stunning little budget property. Don't love Circus so much. But part of why you will never see me work with the LVCVA again is not because I don't like them. I think they're as great as any government orchestrated body is. You know, they serve their purpose and they do good things for the city. But they came to me and they said, you can't say negative things about any of the hotels in Vegas and work with us. And I said, well, how come? And they said, because we take dollars from all of them equally. So if you're trashing Circus, we're basically taking their money to pay you to say terrible things about them. And I said, that's simple then. Don't pay me. We just want work together. Like, we're cool, but no more paid deals at the LVCVA. And it makes me sad because I could do a lot to work in collaboration with the city, but I feel like I'm doing a lot as it is. They spend a ton of money on purchasing followers and views and influencer relationships. And I think that people should spend money on influencer arrangements. But I think the issue is that it wasn't transparent and that people didn't realize that that's what tax dollars were being utilized for.
It goes back to the cake issue,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That you just there's this disconnect
Yeah,
that goes on with people that are used to traditional advertising
for sure.
versus contemporary PR, i.e. influencer podcast marketing
Right.
that's going on now.
Yep. And it's so different. And we're in the wild, wild west of it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, again, lucky that
Is this actual wood?
veneer, knock on veneer,
Right, knock
or
on veneer.
if it's wood, yes. I'll get 4 to 5 times a week an email. Hey, love Fargo Talks. It's a templated.
Oh, yeah. Dear user.
Yeah. And loved your podcast. I have somebody perfect for your, and I'm like, you know what? No. Or my standard answer to something like that is, let me think about it and see if they're a good fit for my audience.
Right. That's what I say too. I'm like, send me an
then good,
email.
right?
Yeah.
I kind of like,
Yeah.
I just can't, because a lot of them, like the whole, in podcasting now, the big ones coming out are like the gurus, the salespeople that have a course, and here's a picture of me with my Lamborghini.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's not my
Or the
audience,
ones
man.
that have you come film the podcast and then they tell you that you owe them an appearance fee,
Oh, yeah.
which is wild.
Yeah.
And then you look at them, and I won't call out one particular notable one, but there's a very large one that hits us all up all the time. And their engagement is purchased. Like you go look at their numbers and they'll have 9,000 views with 12 million followers, and they want you to pay them a $6,000 appearance fee. And it's like, I'm sorry, like that's not how this is. Like we can collaborate. That's another word that we need to rewrite the definition of. I get 55 times a day, I'll get emails that are like, hi, we as a business would like to collaborate with you. We're happy to offer you 1 entree and 2 cocktails in exchange for 3 videos, 9 story posts, and this and that and the other. And so I'll write back and I'll say, and then what is your part of the collaboration? Like, because collaboration implies that we're both going to bring something to the table. And they're like, well, we're giving you an entree. And I was like, how about if I want to eat there, I'll just buy my own entree. And then we don't have to
Keep it simple.
Right. Like we don't have to do all this like paperwork, but it's changing, because it used to be that influencing, and I don't love that term, but influencing was people who wanted to eat for free. It was the Yelpers. The Yelpers graduated to being able to go into restaurants, and like a taco platter and a soda in exchange for a review was a great trade. The business was happy with it. The consumer or the reviewer was allegedly happy with it. But as it is now, it's a legitimate, it has replaced marketing in the traditional senses. There's no more billboards. There's no more television ads. Radio isn't doing anything. People get their information from creators. And you mentioned public relations. There's a lot of war between content creators and public relations, because it used to be PR would send out emails to all of us and say, we want to invite you to our influencer party. We'll give you a gift bag and some snacks, and you will give us all of this free media. And then somewhere along the way, we got together and we said, wait a minute, the company's paying PR. PR is writing to us. We're doing the work, getting millions of views. PR is getting the credit. The company pays PR more. Why don't we not do that and instead work with the businesses directly? And that doesn't always mean paid. When a small business writes me and says, hey, we're a mom and pop Peruvian restaurant, I'm doing this one this week, that's what's on my mind. We don't have a marketing budget. What would it cost to come in? And I'm like, nothing. I'll come do it for free. I said, if it sucks, I'm not going to do anything. And if it's awesome, I'll make a video, because I'm not going to drag a small business. That's not appropriate. I'll give them the talking points as to why I didn't love it, but I won't put a video out and say, this mom and pop Peruvian restaurant is terrible. You shouldn't eat there. But the PR companies now are at war with us, because if a PR company reaches out to me, I hit them with a rate every single time. And if they write back and say, but we're offering you an experience, I'll say, but you're paid for your work. So split your budget, whatever you were paid, half it with me if I'm going to do the legwork. And it never results in any sort of, like, we end up not working together, basically, is what it boils down to. But at the end of the day, public relations is outdated. They are to be used by large companies for reputation and brand management. They are not, if you're a small business, if you're a pizzeria, a nail shop, or paying $6,000 to a public relations company to put you on the morning talk show network, or to get your press releases published in the Review Journal where 16 people will read it, it's not a good use of your funds. Instead, hire a great social media manager, hire Unlocked or Hooked or Damien, Local Living, and have them make content for you. Have them put you on Instagram and TikTok, and that is going to get you 1,000% ROI versus traditional PR. Podcasting is a little different. I don't know about podcasting. Does this work from a marketing standpoint?
Oh, yeah.
Is it good?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
This is like the one avenue I'm not in.
And this is why, like, I came up with questions that are Vegas related, because my audience, I'm 2 to 4 million people a month.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Year and a half in, which is pretty good. I started monetizing about a year in.
Right.
I started to monetize with it. And so...
Is it easy to monetize podcasting?
No. No. Because the average podcaster, like, I think 90% of them quit after the second episode.
So do you make any money off views?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, not a lot. Mine is more of, like we talked before off camera, I own a digital advisory firm.
Okay.
So what I do is use this as a funnel for people to go, well, this is what I'm doing and how I'm doing my own social media. I have my own podcast and have friends come on and people come on and have great conversations and a lot of the clips get, picked up by a lot of people now globally, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's wild.
Crazy. And if I can do it, I can show you how to do it.
Sure.
Because a lot of social media, again, I'm not a social media, I'm an advisor. I'm not a coach. I'm just an advisor. I tell you what I think. I have an hourly rate. And if you want someone to chop up your long form content into clips and post them, I have a team that does that. It's the same team that does my stuff.
Right.
But I walk the walk.
Right.
And that's how I've monetized this now. Well, I mean, I'm happy.
That's
Am
good.
I going to retire? No, but I don't want to. Thank you.
Right.
I love what I do.
Yeah, me too.
I'm at 53. A year ago, I became a 1099 employee for the first time in my life.
It's a mess.
I've never been more terrified in my life, but I love it. I love it because I can do what I want and talk to people that I want to talk to and with, and have really cool conversations. And if other people enjoy snippets of those conversations, i.e. clips, short form content, mazel tov. Awesome.
Have you found a CPA yet? Do you have one?
I have one. I don't know if she's good for what I'm doing now. She was mine for my past stuff.
Okay. So I have, another thing I see is when people say, she's not disclosing that income, call the IRS. Man, I wish they would call the IRS because then maybe I could talk to someone at the IRS. I work with a place, and I'll tell you the name off because I don't want to give them too much promotion, but that specializes in what we do.
Love it.
And they specifically are familiar with the write-offs that come from our type of work.
Thank you.
And all they do is work with content creators, and they're based out of West Virginia, but they are super efficient. And you just kind of turn everything over to them and you pay a monthly amount, and they will set up your quarterly taxes, and it's like the most hassle-free thing. But in terms of you're doing what you love, that's where I am. I could probably make a lot more money doing what I do, but I'm so comfortable and happy and just doing what I want to do every day. And it's awesome. I make the majority of my income off of the creator funds. So TikTok, the creator fund is wild. You can make a few hundred a month. You can make 100,000. I know people in our market that have had 6-figure videos. One video, make them over, we're talking AMG level, here's a new car level of creator fund. YouTube is very stable income, very good creator fund. Facebook is coming along, man. For a while I would get $8 from Facebook, but I've had some $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 months on Facebook, which is tremendous. Considering we came from zero, IG is not good. X, it doesn't matter what I do. I can get 500 million views or 4 views. I seem to always get $60 from X. every month without fail. So that's
Come on, Elon.
Right. That's my Starbucks budget. But so I primarily monetize through the creator funds. I do consulting work. I have a lot of organizations come to me, like the Credit Union Association, which was wild because I'm like, why do you guys want to talk to me? But what they want to do is they want to sit down with someone and say, what is our audience? How do we get them? And then how do we get influencers? How do we harness them? So what I do now is I have a rate where I will go sit down with you as a business and I'll say, look, these are the areas that you could use services like what someone like me does or my field. Here's how you could do it better. Here's the resources you need to tap into. One of the biggest questions I get is, how do we get influencers? Because we send them emails, but they don't respond. And I'm like, well, I know because I get those emails too. You know, what are your goals? And we work together to figure out what do you want an influencer for? Who are we influencing? So we come up with a marketing plan and I work with these companies. I do talks, a lot of, which is funny because I don't like the on-camera stuff, but I'll sit down and talk to like a boardroom all day long. We can talk about like what your goals are for digital marketing, how it's changed, and what is the audience looking for? Because what PR companies think that they're looking for and what they're actually looking for are different. You know, they don't want to be sold products. They want a relationship. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know why they should invest in you and from a business standpoint. If you look at the really great restaurants in our market, Golden Steer, for example, 7 years ago, Golden Steer was on Groupon. 2 people could dine there for like $60 or something. It was crazy. Now a lobster tail is $125. And that is the power of a brilliant social media marketing manager. I have never been paid a dime by Golden Steer. I can't even get a restaurant or a reservation at Golden Steer, and I've given them 100 million views. I've given them almost more viral content than anyone, and I can't get in. But it's because they have Las Vegas Phil running their accounts. He's brilliant. He's a friend to all of us. So when Phil says, hey, I can get you into Golden Steer next month, do you want to film some content? We're happy to go and pay to advertise for them. That is brilliant social media marketing. And Phil is so good at his job that is the restaurant great? Absolutely. Does it have a lot of cool lore? Yes. But it's also in like a shitty strip mall off the strip. So if you harness that story and make it this like amazing hole in the wall secret gem, you've got $1 billion concept. Like they're franchising to New York City now. But if you don't harness it correctly, then it's just another old steakhouse. And they've done it correctly. Amano's Italian Pizzeria in the Northwest, same thing. They take pizzas and fold them up and stuff them with pasta. It's really weird. But they get billions of views because they've made it like next level stunt food. And people are taking $60 Uber rides to go try these crazy dishes because they've seen all of us eat them on social media. Why are we eating them on social media? Are they paying us? No, I don't even get free pizza from them. I do it because their social media manager is brilliant. I have a good relationship. It's Phil. Again, it's always Phil. But that's kind of how it goes. Sorry Not Sorry ice cream. Have you tried it?
They just came out to Inspirata. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
It's owned by Unlocked. You know, so we all go, we show how awesome it is. Now they're viral. You will go by there on a Friday or Saturday night. There's 300 people in line. I have to DoorDash the ice cream that I got 10 million views for. But that's smart marketing. That's using the power of your community and building relationships. You know, we're not on payroll with these places, but when I have a business that I'm passionate about, like The Magician Study, I don't know if you see my content on him, but I love him so much. He's not only one of my dearest friends, but I love the show and I think it's so great. He's a small performer, or he's bigger now, but you know, he didn't have a marketing budget, but I can call Phil and say, hey, Phil, remember that Golden Steer video? How do you want to go see Magician Study? And he does. And that's where a lot of it comes from. So we aren't monetizing off the small businesses the way that people think we are.
Right.
We're monetizing off the creator funds. I also have a guide that I wrote that kind of spells out like where to go in Vegas. I do well with that. And then I also try to land 1 or 2 major brand deals a month. And by major, I mean Pepsi, Apple Music, Resort Pass, Hopper, kind of tourism. It needs to fit with what I'm doing. Like I wouldn't take like dental whitening or whatever, or maybe some free plastic surgery. But it has to fit with what I'm doing. And then that's where I make the money to do the free content.
Okay. So I created Vegas related questions.
Okay, let's do it.
That I think would be great because these clips, what we'll do is I'll put them in as a collab. If you want to accept, great. Because I think I love it because this is your niche.
Yeah.
But also it's good that you could take this and send these clips sometimes to prospective clients to go, hey, this is what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
In terms of like Vegas knowledge. So
aside from my sharp wit.
That's the next episode. That's absolutely.
I was being sarcastic.
No, you're good. Oh,
thank
please.
you.
What's the most outrageous Vegas myth you've debunked?
That prostitution is legal here. Everybody wants a hooker. So I have a concierge service, and part of my concierge service, or not part of it, what it is you pay one time, it's $65, and you get my phone number, one of my phone numbers, and you can text me anytime you want with anything Vegas related. And the intent initially was, how do I eat a lobster at 3 a.m. or where do I go for an amazing brunch that looks over the Bellagio fountains? And I'll be like, oh, I got you. You got to go here, and here's a reservation, and or I know this person, let me get you in or whatever. What I underestimated is that the number one question is, where can we get cocaine? To which I respond, allegedly, there's a guy on this bridge, but I always try to steer them towards our legal, like we have consumption lounges now, and you can go do a lot of things without the risk of incurring damage to yourself. So I don't help anyone hurt themselves. But the second question is always, we're in our 60s, we're dying to have a threesome. How can we get a girl that looks like Megan Fox? And I'm like, that's a great question. And so we have to go down the road of there are opportunities to make new friends in Vegas. But if you want to do it legally, you have to leave Vegas. But our brothels are amazing, and they do offer transportation, and they'll take care of you. But you're going to pay for safety and for what is the old joke? You're paying them to leave. You're paying to not get robbed. You're paying to be safe, and you're paying to be in the care of one of our awesome professionals that is going to make sure that you get exactly what you want. Like, this is your fantasy. It's worth investing in. So I have to have a lot of conversations about hookers, actually, which I did not expect. Awesome. Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've seen happen in Vegas that most people wouldn't believe?
Britney Spears in Target having a meltdown over toys. So one of the things that's wild about she lived here at the time. She had a residency. Wild about Vegas is this is the community where all of our performers and celebrities also live. So you'll be in traffic next to David Copperfield, and then Carrot Top will be on the left in his G-Wagon. It used to be you go to the bar at Jing on Friday night, and O.J. Simpson was
Saw him there.
Always there.
Saw him there.
Always there, yeah. I think it's the fact that there's a certain amount of understanding that when you're away from the Strip, we all just live in this community, and we coexist with people that would blow your mind. Harlow Steakhouse, Sunday evening, Mark Wahlberg, almost every week. Sorry to call him out like that, but the Raiders, the Golden Knights, they live and exist among us. And so just the really casual interactions with people that you wouldn't normally see in the wild is pretty normal here. Very. Yeah.
Very. One time I was at, over on Charleston, is it Charleston? And they do white or black linen tablecloths they give you for lunch. I'll think of it. And I held the door. Nicolas Cage came in, said hi to me, and I'm talking to a friend of mine, and Carrot Top came in.
Oh, love Carrot Top.
And both of them super nice, like very cordial, just hi, how are you? We made eyes and said hi. I was like, that's cool.
So I'm going to take this opportunity to put it out there that my celebrity crush is Carrot Top. It always has been. I don't know why. I think he's fascinating. And he is probably the only performer in Vegas that has in no capacity ever acknowledged me. I've commented, I've liked, I've followed, I've said nice things about him. Someone actually commented the other day on a thread devoted to hating on me that I have a militant fandom of Carrot Top and that I must be bought and paid for. I want to be bought and paid for by Carrot Top.
Vintner Grill. That's where I went and saw him. So
I'm going to start. I'm a Vintner girl.
Stalking Vintner Grill.
Yeah, I think he's so talented.
He's excellent.
I have not run into Nick Cage in the wild yet. He's the one. I have seen him at Disneyland, but not here. But I'll tell you one that surprised me, Brad Garrett. Brad Garrett is so tall and he smells so good and he's so tan and he's so nice and he tips well. Like he tips everyone if you're not a Brad Garrett fan, you should be. But then I saw him on an episode of SVU where he was like a wife-beaten cop and I was like, I can't. It's messing with me. But he's sexy. Brad Garrett is.
It's the voice.
It's all of it.
It's the deep voice.
Yeah.
If you can give only one piece of advice to a Vegas first-timer, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. Step outside your comfort zone. Don't struggle. Don't structure your trip so tightly that you can't just go out and get into trouble. That's what Vegas is kind of about. Like, go for a walk. You're going to see stuff you've never seen before. Some things you might not want to see. But it adds to all of it. Allow time to explore. Hydrate, and lock your valuables in your safe for so many reasons, especially those new friends we talked about. Yeah.
That was excellent, by the way.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake people make when visiting Las Vegas and how can they avoid it?
I hate to make this all about hookers, but there's and I shouldn't call them that. I have a lot of respect for our sex workers, by the way. And just so we're clear, I'm a fan of safe, legalized, whatever you want to do. I think that what makes Vegas awesome is that you can come here and really indulge yourself in a way that might not be acceptable elsewhere. So whatever that means to you, I celebrate it. But there are young ladies, and in some cases gentlemen, that will approach a man like yourself, perhaps, sitting at a bar, and they will act like you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you'll think, wow, I must look really hot in Vegas, or my stock value's really gone up. And they won't necessarily make it clear that this is a pay-for-play transaction. And if you take them back to your room, it might be what you expect it to be. And it might also result in you losing your pants and your ID and all of your possessions. They are very good at what they do. And this is a city where, women, we know not to leave a drink unattended. We know not to go to the bathroom and leave a beer on the counter. Like, we're born knowing that. But men don't necessarily think that that applies to them. And you will get trick rolled here. So my advice would be always let someone know who you're going out with or where you're going. Make sure that you have conversations with your bartenders and your servers because they will watch out for you. And then just be smart. I know you want to wear your Rolex and your big gold chains and stuff like that, but this is not the city for it. Like, don't attract attention.
Awesome. What's the most exclusive experience in Vegas that you can't believe is still a secret?
Oh, gosh. There's so many. Vegas is so cool. I was at Pinky Ring 2 nights ago, and Bruno Mars got on stage and played, and there was like 75 of us hanging out. It was so cool. Barbershop is really special at Cosmo. I don't think it's unknown because I just had a viral video about it, but it's really special, and you can be there having a drink, and Adam Levine or Bruno Mars will get on stage. The Poodle Room at Fountain Blue, there's a sushi restaurant upstairs that you can go to without having to be somebody. It's really special. It's omakase. It's not just like normal sushi. It's like $400 a person, but it's worth it. It's amazing. Delilah at Wynn. That's the one that no one's talking about because it doesn't matter if we talk about it. You can't get in anyway. But if you get lucky enough to, it's worth the hype. They have $27 chicken tenders there, and I would love to drag them, but they're the best chicken tenders I've ever had. So Vegas is full of really cool exclusive experiences. Magician Study. It's always sold out. It's really special. I don't know. I think Vegas is an exclusive experience, whatever that is for you.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about the Vegas hospitality industry?
That everybody knows everyone. It's very, very close knit. And the term George is used to identify someone who tips very well and takes very good care. Not just tipping. A George is someone who is really enjoyable to interact with. They take good care of you. They are respectful. You want to take care of them. And so I came from the hospitality industry. I worked in gaming prior to being a content creator. We would communicate like the George is in table 7, or like that's John Morgan. He's a George. You know, he takes good care of, and John Morgan is a George. But we would communicate even across properties that are not aligned with each other, like let's say Aria and Caesar's Palace. Poker rooms or table games, they'll pick up the phone and call someone and say, I'm sending over a guest. He's excellent. Take care of him. And that's never, when those conversations take place, it's very rarely related to the value they present to the casino as much as the value that they represent to other tip earning positions. So when I tell people you should tip in Vegas, it's not just because it's the correct thing to do. It's because it will open doors for you. Everyone communicates. You take good care of your hostess, your bartender. You might not feel it right away, but the minute you tip the hostess $20, she's letting your server know. Like, you've got a live one, take good care of that person. You're getting a better table. You're getting, you're getting put in before the party of 16 gets their order of steaks in. Take care of people. It will pay dividends.
It's refreshing to hear that there's like cross-brand communication.
Oh yeah, there's like a secret network of
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's also a secret network of assholes too. Like, we'll let you, like, we would share information like, oh, it doesn't matter what you do for that person, you cannot make them happy, and then that person's going to get pushed to the back burner. So take care of the people who take care of you.
So it goes both ways.
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. What's your take on the future of Las Vegas? How do you see it evolving in the next decade?
The north end of the strip is the shift. So we've maxed out on what we can do in Center Strip. And Center Strip is always going to be iconic. I'm not saying that area is going to die off. There's a lot of belief that there's going to be a Major League Baseball stadium. I do not believe that that's going to happen. No one in any credible position believes that that's going to happen. There's going to have to be some significant changes. It's not just one player is bad here. The people who own the land do not have the financial ability. The people that own the team do not have the financial ability. The people who are putting up the money for Nevada are fighting a lot of argument that money should be invested in our schools and our teachers and other resources rather than another sports team. There's so much opposition. I do believe that we're going to get Major League Baseball. I think it'll come in the form of an expansion team. And I think that we're looking at north end of the strip, or even possibly like the Rio feels very lipstick on a pig with their renovation. So it's possible that they're trying to raise property value to still eventually demolish it. Who knows? We're going to get it. It's not going to be where it's currently planned for, unless MGM comes through, because it strategically benefits MGM, because it takes Excalibur, Mandalay, Luxor, and MGM Grand, New York, and it blows them up. So if MGM throws a Hail Mary, then maybe something changes. But as it is right now, it's not looking good. The north end of the strip, the Kings of the North, which is Resorts World, Alex from Sahara, Strat, all of them, they have had meetings about the festival grounds being a great place for it. I believe there's some issue with Circus and Ruffin, but he's an older gentleman. So who knows how long that'll be a player. The north end is where it is, because we have so much real estate down there, and there's a natural like bridge being built to downtown. And downtown has really been on like a glow up over the last 15 years. And Derek Stevens is doing amazing things.
He's awesome.
Jonathan Jostle's amazing.
Awesome.
So that the Arts District, which is over here, doing amazing like food and beverage things. And like, I feel like we're just going to kind of see that area come to fruition.
I would love to see. I just took. Brandon and I met friends at. There's Bouchon, and then there's the other one that's. It's Bouchon's like very attractive cousin is right next to Bouchon. Altier.
Atelier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ate there about a week and a half ago. It was excellent.
Okay.
It was excellent.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm talking to Brandy is brand new here, and we're looking at the construction. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna blow up the Trop and supposed to, baseball is supposed to go there. But I'm like, if MGM could come in and do a pedestrian walkover to connect everything over on the other side of the strip and do it right.
Yeah.
Blow up Hooters.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. Come on. And that would be just fantastic. But again, I was pro, let's go for it. And now I'm like, everyone involved, there's no one really leading the charge that has money.
Right. And MGM is successful and they have money, or at least access to money, and they're in bed enough with like Blackstone that they could make that happen. But there's also there's an issue with them using that property, given the history of that property and the location and MGM's. It's messy. The whole thing is messy. And we'll see what happens. But unless MGM becomes a player in that deal isn't happening. Someone else could purchase that land and then it could become a stadium. But as it sits right now, it is unlikely to happen. And then the A's are not giving us any indication that they're doing anything either. I think we're looking at an expansion. After the Super Bowl occurred here, there was a meeting of minds with the NFL, and the NFL basically said, look, we have to have the Super Bowl elsewhere because we've already made deals. And that's kind of a thing where if you build a stadium, you get a Super Bowl, we have to do that. But we're going to be back here as soon as we possibly can. 4 to 5 years is what they're whispering now. It was such a crazy success. Everyone likes to hate on F1. F1 was a wild success.
Really?
Yes. So a lot of the drama that you're going to hear about F1 and the people who are saying it was terrible for them, a lot of those businesses were already troubled. I'm not going to call anyone out, but one of the loudest that's like, F1 ruined me. Sir, you were ruined before F1. F1 didn't help. Was there some negative ramifications on small businesses and employees? Absolutely. There's a lot of pain points with the first year of anything. It's going to get better. But in terms of just the visibility of what having that race down the strip and the branding for Vegas.
I went. It was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I hated F1 up until the moment I went to F1. When I was just a casual observer, I was like, this is terrible. I hate it. What are we getting for this? And then I went and I was like, oh my God,
Only thing I hated was the walking. I hated that. I thought I could go in by the MGM and cut across right there. I couldn't. So I had to walk all the way down by the Hard Rock and then go all the way over. And I'm wearing Chuck Taylors. I'm like, really, y'all? And I microdosed, so I'm ready for it. I had a gummy.
Right.
I'm ready to go, and I'm fucking walking.
Yeah.
And so, but once I got to my seat, though, unbelievable.
Right.
It was and I'm not an F1 guy, but it was super cool. I would go back if they were like, okay, Jeff, here's your place. You don't have to walk that far and enjoy.
Right.
Then I would go back.
So I had a similar experience. I went to the race, and I don't know why I took my brother-in-law who's in the Air Force, and he's awesome, and he's a big F1 nerd, and I got a chance to invite him to something. It was really the first time we'd ever done anything, just us.
Cool.
But he's been married to my sister for 10 years, so it was time. So I invited him to be my +1 to the race, and we were seated in the Sphere Zone as a guest of Wynn. Wynn gave me the tickets. I don't know why I thought when the race was over that we could just call an Uber. So the race ends. It's midnight, 1 a.m. and I'm and I start looking and I start doing the math, and I was like, holy shit, we're staying at Cosmo. We can see it. We can't get there. So you know how they talk about the friends you make along the way? We walked and walked and walked. We walked back to Maryland. And down towards I think we stopped at Tuscany to rest and walked all the way down towards MGM Grand and walked up. But we weren't just walking. We were in a group of 200,000 Europeans, and people are singing songs and they're stopping for drinks. And it was wild. The whole night was wild. But what people fail to realize about F1, and part of what made it so amazing, is it's not just F1. We are showing that Vegas is the world destination for your event, that we can pull it off no matter how crazy it is. We'll put a freaking building in the middle of Bellagio fountains and we'll do it in 2 months. Like, see that whole village we just built in 90 days? Can't fix the roads in Summerlin for shit, but we can build an entire Olympic village over on Koval. F1 it's a branding and marketing move. No press is bad press, essentially. And the entire world was talking about Vegas. Those images of those cars coming around the sphere. Like, what even is the sphere? We built that. We have that here. And people come here just to see it. F1 was brilliant. It was a wild success. It hurt a few. There were some painful people or some scenarios that weren't ideal. Gas stations that didn't make as much money as they should have or whatever. And as a city, we should look at ways to help those people out. But for the city as a whole, F1 was wild, and it's going to be even better this year. I know they're saying like soft ticket sales, but there's the hype of the first year. Second year, there's a little less urgency, but it was one of the best races of the F1 season. And as we continue to have them, they're just going to get better and better. I'm so excited for F1.
I love it. What's the most unexpected place in Vegas to get an amazing meal?
Oh, goodness. Off strip or on?
Off.
Okay. Nora's Italian is a really good, like, hidden. I mean, it's not hidden. Everyone knows, I think. I think we all know. But it's a really great spot to go get, like, resort caliber experience. But feels like, I don't know, it's really great. I like Nora's. I really like Pepper Club, their brunch. I know I talk about it a lot. But the story with Pepper Club, I went and did a video for them randomly. I don't remember why. I think I just went with a girlfriend. And the owner called me in. And she was like, would you have lunch with me? I want to thank you for the video. And I was like, yeah. And I went and I had lunch with her. And she's this Chinese female architect who like overcame a whole lot of odds to be a real badass. And now she's building the Midtown, like affordable, not affordable, but attainable housing in the arts district. And so she kind of took over this restaurant, and because Todd English was having some issues, as Todd English does. And she took over the restaurant, and she's like, look, I don't know anything about restaurants, but I know that you're good at what you do. She's like, would you make another video for me? And I was like, I'm a fan of yours now. I'm in. But I really like their menu. It's good. It's inventive. Esther's Kitchen, so freaking good.
Best charcuterie board in town, as far as I'm concerned.
Everything they do is good. Yeah. And Chef James Tree is so amazing. I toured his kitchen recently to do content, and he was talking about his like sourdough starter. And he's like, do you know what happened? He's like, do you know what we do if the sourdough starter dies? And I was like, I don't know. It's got to be like a crisis, right? Aren't they like 200 years old? And he's like, no, we just make another one. He's like, everyone lies about their sourdough starter. I was like, that's amazing. Like, he's so talented. He's wild and brilliant. And Vegas is such a foodie scene.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, all right. Two more.
Okay.
What's the most luxurious thing you've ever done in Vegas that's actually worth the price tag?
I got a couple. It's never just one. So the Resorts World Spa and the Fontainebleau Spa were both designed by the same woman. Her whole job, this is a terrible job. Her whole job is to travel around like Europe and Asian countries and discover like the most cutting edge spa therapies, test them out, and then bring them here and put them into spas.
Bitch.
I know, right? Like, I'm like, ugh. And I'm just over here reviewing Vegas burritos. She really gets into like what will not only physically help you in terms of like hydrotherapy, snowfall rooms, aromatherapy, but create these like sublime relaxation experiences. So both of those spas have things that you won't find anywhere else because they're a literal combination of like the best things available in the world based on her research at the time that she did it. So like there's like a room at the Fontainebleau Spa where you can nap under glittering stars in a completely silent pod. And it's like, I don't even know what all that means and I want to do it. So the spas at either resort, Fontainebleau is like this much newer and has a little bit different technology. So if I had to choose one, it would be that one, but they're both excellent. The other thing is the Lip Smacking Foodie Tour has an ultimate steakhouse tour. and they visit 3 of the best steakhouses in Vegas. And the reason why, it's $1,000. It's expensive, but not when you understand what you're getting. If you go have dinner with you and your girlfriend at a steakhouse and you have alcohol and king crab and steak and all that, you're going to spend $600
all day.
This tour is $1,000 per person. It includes your luxury transportation, 3 different steakhouses, all of your liquor, all of your seafood, all of your steak. But the chefs do tableside like Kobe beef and black truffle and imported delicacies. All your gratuities are included. So like that would be another, $100, $200 on top of your $600 dinner. It's really a good value for what you're getting. It is a lot in terms of like, it's a lot of steak. It's a lot of black truffle. It's a lot of king crab, giant lobsters. It's all the things. But if you're only going to be here and do this like one time, this is the way to do it, because you're not just sitting at a table in a steakhouse. You're sitting on the patio beneath the Bellagio fountains at Prime. You're sitting in the private dining room at Bazaar Meat with the bonsai tree that Jose Andres picked out sitting on your table while the chef prepares Kobe beef for you. Like, it is next level dining. So that would probably be it.
You're so good.
It's
God, you're so good. I fucking love it. Dude. I love it. How do you stay authentic in an industry that's often criticized for being superficial?
Well, I think the key to it is to acknowledge that this is just about indulgence. It's, people say influencers are narcissism. Vegas is narcissism. You come here to feel sexy and to be gluttonous and to have sex on a balcony overlooking the fountains or whatever you're into. You come here to consume cannabis-infused beverages and have a threesome with a woman that looks like Megan Fox, or stay up at a dueling piano bar with all your kindergarten teacher friends until 6 a.m. And it's a city that is based on really superficial indulgences, and that's okay. You can be a great person and still get a little wild and do something a little silly, spend $1,000 on a dinner. Like, should you do that regularly? No, there are starving children that you should probably be helping out. But is it okay to do it sometimes or like one time? Absolutely. And you should. You work hard, you get one shot at life. You should do some fun things for yourself. And it's funny that, you talk about authenticity. Sometimes I'll see someone will say, well, I know she's fake because I went to this restaurant and I didn't like the food and she said it was amazing. And it's almost like we have different tastes. But you should come here and figure out what it is that your weird fantasy is, and you should do that. And you shouldn't apologize for it. And like, is it a little, shallow? Yes, but it's good for you. It's good for the heart.
I want to thank you for coming in for multiple reasons. One, for dealing with my inane amount, or my insane amount of emails. I feel like I talk too much. No, honey. You. If I thought you were talking too much, I would steer the conversation back.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my job. Okay. Is to do that.
When I get on a roll, I get, because I love Vegas.
But it's great. But that's why it's like it's to get you rolling, because I want people to see this, where both of our audiences mostly are not here. So for them to see even more, maybe there's something that we touched upon that they haven't seen in your content before.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
That's all. And like I had Brandon from Vegas, Brandon Johnson, who I
love him.
Love him.
Yeah, he's a real deal.
Like, if you don't love Brandon, that's on you.
Yeah,
because he's just one of the nicest guys, and I've known him for a while now, and it was his second time. He came on a couple weeks ago. We had a blast. And it was just the best conversation ever. And I organically just kind of gravitate towards people, and regardless of if you could have a following of in the millions or in the tens.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as you're a good person, come on here. Let's chat.
You know what's crazy too is that all of us have good relationships, with the exception of like, there's 2 creators, and I know we're not going to talk about this person, but there's 2 creators in our market that don't live here. One lives in Texas and he just hijacks all of our stuff and posts it. And the other one's a crazy New Yorker that no one likes. No offense to New Yorkers. Everyone else, there's a girl that like her and I aren't besties, but like I have her back if she ever gets in a situation. We all text each other. We all share information. We'll all be like, hey, there's this like cake bakery and they're struggling. Like, let's make some time and go do it.
I love that.
Or we'll write and be like, hey, these people like Pepsi came in. This is what they paid me. You pitch higher. Like we work together. And we respect each other. And we're all really different. Like, have you met Phil yet? Okay.
I'd love to.
So yeah, Phil will totally come to your show. Phil's awesome. Phil likes to get high and eat steak, and he's Asian and super chill.
We could do a remote at his whatever he wants to go to and get high together.
Yeah, he would love that.
I would do that in a sec. Phil, Phil, we're going to talk.
He would love that. His wife, Ayumi, is Japanese and beautiful and so like real Summerlin of housewife, but like demure and cutesy. But she's also, for whatever reason, gone vegan, which is a wild monkey wrench because we all eat this crazy food. Cody is this like all-American, beautiful, blonde, like American princess. Her fiance is a literal firefighter who looks like a supermodel. Like you want to hate them, but they're the nicest people in the world. Lindsay, the Las Vegas foodie, and her husband Casey, and their babies they're wonderful. We've got Bia, B is Spanish speaking and caters to that community. Yuvi and Velia do too. Talls, I mean, they're all awesome. Brandon is so great. Love Brandon. And like if Brandon tells you something, it's legit. Like if he's like, go eat here, it's the real deal.
And he's mostly off the strip.
Yeah. He's very much a locals guy.
Very much, but that's his meat and potatoes are his audience.
Yeah.
And they love him.
Yeah.
And he's brilliant because he's a realtor.
Right, for sure.
And he does almost every night, he does an Instagram Live.
He does.
Where he just talks about real estate and he gets business that way.
Yep.
And I used to be in town escrow here for 10 years. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, he's really good.
What he does. But he's also just one of the nicest guys.
Yes.
Big teddy bear.
Yeah.
He's give him a big hug. And he's awesome.
Right.
And so I want to thank you for your time, but also this was great.
Oh, yay. Thanks.
This was great.
Okay.
I think that I hope that after your 60 days that you look back on this one with fondness enough that maybe in a few months we talk again.
Okay.
Because you're good.
Thank you.
And people need to see more of you. I am someone that I'm neutral in the whole thing. That's why I really try to keep stuff positive here.
Right.
If I get on somebody, they really have it coming.
Yeah.
And then I do.
Yeah.
Then I'm a fucking samurai. I cut you clean and fast, man.
Yeah.
I'm coming. But it's more about the positivity of the Vegas brand.
Yeah.
And what we have to offer the world. Nobody can offer what we offer.
For sure.
And so whenever I can have someone like yourself come on just to say, let's talk. What is it about Vegas that just gets you out of bed every morning? And now you're getting paid for it, which is even better.
Right.
It's so cool.
So is this part off the record?
Hold on one second. So thank you so much for coming in, and the end.